everyone, Ashley with Amare. So I recorded a video earlier this week on Lunchtime Lipo and I had a lot of questions. So rather than doing two parts, I figured I would just do another one. So Lunchtime Lipo. There's a lot about there to say with Lunchtime Lipo. So it is still liposuction. So let's start by defining this. Just because they say minimally invasive does not mean non-invasive. If you have incision points, if you have little holes that you're leaking out of, if you have little stitches, if a cannula, a long rod, went into your body to suck fat out, you had lipo. End statement. Cool sculpting, lipocavitation, ultrasound therapy, those things are not lipo. Those are different body contouring procedures. Wood therapy, all this stuff, right? So they're different body contouring procedures. Whether it be AirSculpt, TriSculpt, the lipo, lunchtime lipo machines, things like that, just because they are less invasive and less destructive on your body does not mean that they are something other than lipo. If it is a little thing going into your body to suck fat out, it is still liposuction. You still need post-op care. So let's talk about this. Lipo, as we know, is meant for sculpting. So with these lunchtime lipo things, they can only do so much. They're not taking out as much as normal lipo would. It's meant to trim you down, to shape you, to shave off some excess. It is not meant for weight loss. Not everyone is a candidate for lunchtime lipo or certain kinds of lipo due to BMI, things like that. But this stuff is meant for sculpting, not weight loss. If you get on a scale afterwards, you're not going to see a dramatic difference. So getting something like a lunchtime lipo where it's quick and it's, very simple. They put you in twilight. They don't totally put you out. They give you pain meds, things like that. You're not under heavy anesthesia. That doesn't mean that you don't have to take care of it. That doesn't mean that you can just not wear a garment or wear a Spanx and call it a day. You're still going to get fibrosis. It is still a cut. It's still lipo, it's still internal. So you need to be taking care of this. Now, here is the big thing. Here are the questions that I got asked. Just because you don't have stitches does not mean that it wasn't lipo. Just because they left your incisions open doesn't mean that it wasn't lipo. Usually with these things, they'll put fluid inside of you to numb you, tumescence, so that it goes in there and it numbs the area or, that whole thing. And then they do the lipo and you're good. Or they'll do the lipo and then put the tumescence in. They leave your incisions open so that stuff can leak out. They don't close them for that reason. So that's one thing. The other thing that I got a lot of questions on, well, isn't the fluid in there after lunchtime lipo the fluid that they put in? No. The tumescence and all those fluids are going to leak out through your incision holes. And then what's left is swelling. You're not going to have tumescence trapped in your body for months and months and months. That's not how that works. So you got the lipo done. Yes, lunchtime lipo is still lipo. You got it done. The cannula went in. It sucked fat out. Swelling came in its place. The danger with lunchtime lipo with you guys is that you don't consider it or they don't make it seem like it's an actual liposuction surgery procedure. It still needs to be done by a doctor. It still needs to be done by a professional who's trained on using that machine. That's why, guys, there are certain doctors who do smart lipo, certain doctors who do vaser lipo, certain doctors who do traditional lipo because they're trained on how to use the machine properly to get those results. So you're going to this doctor for his or her knowledge and skill with using that machine to get you the results you want. Same thing why you go to lunchtime lipo is because it's something that's supposed to be quick, right? Done on your lunchtime. It's not full anesthesia, fully out, heavy duty lipo, but it is still surgery. It is still a procedure. Just because you're not getting stitched up, just because they tell you you don't need a garment, doesn't mean you're not going to wind up with fibrosis. So as I was saying, the swelling goes into the area where the fat was. And that swelling is supposed to fill and heal the area. It is still lipo. It is still surgery. That swelling is not going to go anywhere. As I always say, good news is it's not going anywhere. Bad news is it's not going anywhere. That fluid is still going to sit in there. And if you're not in a garment and you're not getting proper hands-on MLD and you're not seeing a specialist that's going to set you up with a recovery plan, and we'll get to that in a second, that's going to set you up and tell you what you need to do post-op, it's going to turn into fibrosis. It's going to be hard. It's going to be swollen. 2 months out, 3 months out, 4 months out, 6 months out, a year out, 2 years out. Lunchtime lipo is still going to turn into fibrosis and swelling, and you're not going to see results. And then you're going to go, oh, well, it wasn't real lipo, so that's why I didn't see as much of an effect. No. You didn't see as much of an effect because they didn't prep you mentally like, hey, you have to do all this aftercare. They're not doing that. Or they'll tell you, just go get a massage. And you're like, okay. And if you don't know what you should be doing post-op massage-wise, go and watch my video. The past 2 weeks, I put one part and the other part. The past 2 weeks telling you what kind of massages you need post-op. So again, just because it's lunchtime lipo does not mean you don't need to take care of it. And the biggest problem you guys run into is the person who's doing it, the doctor, they'll do it at like a med spa or a dermatology office or something. And you don't get in the serious mindset of, oh, this is surgery. I need a faja, I need foams, I gotta take care of this. They won't tell you any of that. They won't even tell you to go get lymphatic massage. So when you go in to do this, not only do you not fully understand what you're getting done, the magnitude of it, but they don't prep you for the aftercare. They just tell you, oh, leave it, it'll heal, and you're fine. Now, with something like cool sculpting, they're putting a machine on your skin. They're not going into your body. There are no incision holes, number one. With something like ultrasound cavitation or liposuction, things like that, they're not going into your body. That is a body sculpting procedure. Lipo, lunchtime lipo, AirSculpt, TriSculpt, whatever version of it they're calling it, is still a procedure going into your body, sucking out fat, which is going to cause massive swelling, just like with traditional lipo. The only difference is this stuff is used for minimal areas. This lunchtime lipo, this AirSculpt, TriSculpt, this, little light lipo machines that they do in these med spas and stuff like that, they're meant for certain specific areas just to trim. If you guys are looking for a snatch waist and a big BBL, you're going to want to go with regular lipo, something that's going to be able to put you out and really do the whole thing. Now, this is the other thing I wanted to address. I have had many people come from Sonobello, Elite, things like that, where it's like Twilight, you're not put out, saying it was 10 times more painful and they wish they were put out. Because again, you're not fully out. You're in this like Twilight, and they're doing the surgery on you. And if at some point your pain meds dip or your pain level goes up, you're going to feel everything. So depending on what you need, like if you're just doing love handles, yeah, lunchtime lipo, AirSculpt, TriSculpt, that might be good. It's just one area. But if you're doing 360 or you're doing like arms and 360 and legs, you may want to consider doing something else depending on how much fat you have, depending on how much it is. So if it's like just a little trim, you could do all those areas with a lunchtime lipo thing where it's quick. It's maybe an hour and a half. They get everything out and you're done. But if you are looking for a dramatic change, go with regular lipo. Be put out and prepare yourself for your aftercare, because you're not going to prepare for aftercare. You're not going to think with lunchtime lipo that you need to do anything, because one, no one out there is telling you to except me, recovery-wise. Two, in the med spa, or the doctor who's doing it is not going to tell you to go get lymphatic massage. At least a surgeon that's doing this all the time will tell you, oh yeah, go get lymphatic massage. Then it's up to you to figure out what that means and where to get it done, which again, my other 2 videos explain to you what exactly that means and what massage you need after surgery. So they'll at least give you a hint. But with the lunchtime lipo and the sonobello and the elite and things like that, TriSculpt, AirSculpt, all of that stuff, where it's like so minimal, they're not going to hit you at all with the aftercare. They're not going to tell you anything. They're going to put you maybe in a garment, but it's not going to be like a real, this is surgery, here's your garment. It's going to be like a Spanx or something super light, and it's going to wind up trapping swelling, or it's not going to do enough, all that stuff. Yes, you absolutely need massages for a tummy tuck. That is, go watch a bunch of my videos. Yes, you absolutely do. So when you're talking about this whole lunchtime lipo thing, the garments aren't going to be there the way that they should be. They're not going to talk to you about the bruising. They're not going to talk to you about your incision care, because your incisions are so tiny. And for a lot of people, even having that tiny incision, if you don't take care of it, it can get really big. And I talk about this all the time with, all my other videos about wound care. Your incision starts tiny. If you're not using the proper things after surgery, if you're not keeping a check on it and doing all that, it's going to get bigger. The skin around it's going to crack. It's going to start looking crazy. And then you're going to go back and they're going to be like, oh, it's fine, just wait. And you're going to be like, what the hell? Guys, it's still regular lipo. You still have to treat it like regular lipo. It is still the same procedure. Just because it's a lesser scale doesn't mean it's not the same thing. If they were only taking a liter out, right? If they were doing your arms and your stomach, 360, and they're only taking a liter, right? Or 800 cc's, which is so minimal. And you're going to a regular liposuction surgeon that does this all the time, like a plastic surgery center. They're still going to put you out. They're still going to put you in a garment. They're still going to do all these things and treat it like a normal surgery. But you're doing a lunchtime lipo, not with a experienced plastic surgeon that's been doing this forever, that has like sort of a little bit of information to start you on your rabbit hole like Google searching to figure out what you need. They're at least going to mention something. But with the lipo of the sonobello, the elite, the TriSculpt, the lunchtime lipo, they don't consider it like a real heavy surgery because you're not under the way that you would be. You're not on antibiotics the way you would be. You're not on painkillers the way you should be or would be, because you're not going to have that much pain. But that's where the trouble comes in, because you're still going to have fibrosis. You're not going to take it seriously. They're definitely not going to tell you about dietary restrictions. They're definitely not going to mention to you need a gallon of water a day. They're not going to tell you what you should be using on your body as far as soap or wound care or products. And it's going to get out of control, like crazy out of control. And then even if they do have somebody doing lymphatic massage or somebody that they send you to, again, because it's a med spa, it's going to be oil and rubbing. It's not going to be post-op manual lymphatic drainage with a recovery place like us, with a recovery specialist. So it can get really ugly really, really quick. And the longer you leave it, the worse it gets, because it is such a small area. That whole thing's just going to become fibrotic and become like spider webs inside of you and connect to everything and get really hard. So there's all that. One of the other questions I got is, how many sessions do you need after a lunchtime lipo and when should you start? Well, there are machines that do fat transfer and lipo. There are places that do that at like a med spa, lunchtime, quick type of thing. So it depends. It depends on where you're at in your healing. Just because, and I said this in my last video, just because you are 5 weeks out, 6 weeks out, 2 months out, does not mean your body is at that 2-month mark. That's not how that works. So just because you're at that mark, your body may have stopped healing at 1 week and your body is still 1 week post-op because you didn't have a garment or you stopped wearing your garment because they told you you didn't need to anymore, or whatever the reason may be. So however many sessions you need is based on where your body stopped healing. So there's that. If you're like far out, like 6 months out, we can still get it back to being what it should be. We can get your results out of it. It's just not going to be, really, really, really quick because you're 6 months out. It's going to depend. Starting, we always start 48 hours after lipo. So you want to come in 48 hours after, especially if you're going to Elite, Sonobello, or you're doing a lunchtime lipo at a med spa thing, or it's somewhere that you're getting it done where it's like lunchtime lipo, not with a plastic surgeon that's going to give you a garment, like a proper post-op true compression garment. They're going to give you like a Spanx or like a light thing. You're going to want to come in 48 hours after. Let's get you on a recovery program. Let's get you started with your massages. Let's flip this whole thing around before it goes bad, because again, like I said in my last video, you guys can literally turn your healing backwards and make it way worse than it was before surgery. And that happens all the time. That's usually when you find me. But we want to stop it right before. So if you are doing a lunchtime lipo thing, if you have done a lunchtime lipo thing or a body sculpt thing where it wasn't like full-blown plastic surgery, like a whole thing, right? You still need to set up a virtual with me. You still need to come in for a post-op if you're in New Jersey. You still need to be getting your massages ASAP. Like, even if, like I said, you're 6 months, 2 years, whatever, wherever you're at, if it's still looking weird and fibrotic and lumpy and swollen and messy and not what it should be, and you're still feeling that heaviness, you're going to want to come in as soon as you can, and we'll set you up on a protocol, because again, that's when your healing starts. Not when you had the surgery. That moment, when we start moving things forward in the direction they're supposed to be moving, is when your healing starts. That's when that begins. So again, guys, you can absolutely get the lunchtime lipo if you've got little areas, chin, little bit of chin area, little bit of like bra roll area, very minimal areas. Lunchtime lipo is wonderful for that. It's really, really good at targeting and getting it done in a minimal area very, very quick. But if you need more than that, if you're looking to do more than that, you may not be a candidate for it, and I would definitely recommend go seeing an actual surgeon for that. But if you're going to do those little areas, you got to make sure you have proper compression on that area. You have a garment, you're on your protocol, you're eating properly, you're not doing the things that are going to set you back. Because again, that can get set back very quickly and go in the wrong direction really, really far, and you keep waiting because they keep telling you to wait. Now, this is the other question and the last question that I'm going to address. They told you you're going to take 3 months to see your results. You wait 3 months without a proper garment, without massages, with no direction, and your incisions heal, and now they're really bad scars, and they have like a lip over them, or they're really, really deeply indented, or they're purple and swollen around them and look like a hot mess. You've waited 3 months because they told you to wait 3 months, and now they're telling you wait 6 months. You don't do that. Start your post-op care immediately, because at that point, if what you're doing hasn't been working, you need to be doing something else. and I say it all the time. If all the information you had, all the research you did, everything that they told you to do, if all of that was true for what you should be doing, it would have worked already. If it's not working, if it's stalled out and your healing's not happening, if it's, gone backwards and you're looking like a hot mess and you're freaking out, what you're doing is not working. We need to change it and put you on a proper protocol. And this is the biggest question I've got is, well, my doctor said I needed to wait. But you did wait. You're 3 months out. You waited. It was lunchtime lipo. It was supposed to be less than all the other lipos out there. It was supposed to be less invasive, less on your body. It should have been better by now. You only had one area done. So if that's the case and it's not, and it's been 3 months and you only had your arms done or you only had your bra roll area done, yeah, you're going to want to start something like now. We're going to want to start doing other things. And everything they told you hasn't worked, we're going to start doing things the right way as per regular lipo surgery protocols, because guys, it's still a cannula. It's still a rod that's going into your body. It is still a surgery, whether it be minimal or not. It's still a surgery. Getting a tattoo is like surgery. It's a minimal thing, but that needle is cutting your skin. It still needs to be treated properly. Still got to use, special soap. You still got to put special lotion on it and things like that. So if you are in the situation of, I had lipo, but it wasn't really full lipo, I don't really know what it was, and now it's looking like a mess and scary, you're going to want to set up a virtual with me, and we're going to want to get you started because you have no information on everything that's happened. And I have a lot of people that come in and I say, oh, what kind of lipo was it? And they're like, I don't know. It was just like some machine in my dermatologist's office. What do you mean you don't know? Was there like a rod that went into your body? You have incisions. Did you get real lipo, like traditional lipo? Was it smart? Was it vaser? Was it power assisted? Was it water assisted? Was it ultrasound? Was it what? What was it? Lipo is lipo. If there's a cannula going into your body, it's still lipo. But depending on what kind of lipo is going to depend on why you have so much fibrosis, what's going on with your body, how it's healing, things like that. Certain ones are more intense than others. Like I said, these lunchtime lipos, sonobello, AirSculpt, Elite, all these things are using ultrasound, using vibration, using radio frequency, using lasers, all these things to make the tissue less, I guess, destroyed, if you want to say. It doesn't damage the tissue as much when they're going in. Whereas traditional lipo, and I explain this in one of my videos about lipo, traditional lipo is a little like needle, hollow needle, that basically looks like a cheese grater, and they go in there and they twist and it cuts the fat and they pull and it sucks it out. So with the laser, it liquefies it so it's less damage to the surrounding tissue when they're sucking out the fat. Same thing with vibration, same thing with heat. There's tons of other things. There's also J plasma, Renuvion, skin tightening, which is basically like a bulb on the cannula that heats up the skin to get it to tighten. So depending on how much damage we have in there, is going to depend on how much you're swelling, is going to depend on how much fibrosis you have, how much you're going to heal. So it really depends on what the machine was, but either way, no matter what the machine was, if they were going in there with something and sucking out fat, it's still lipo. You still need to come in 48 hours after. You still need to see an actual post-op specialist, not just get rubbed, because it's never going to get better. It's just going to spread. It's going to look like it's less, but you're going to have swelling everywhere instead of one condensed area. It's going to push it into the body everywhere else and disperse it, but it's not going to get it absorbed. And you're still going to wind up looking like flabby, is what I hear people say. Flabby, or like you still have fat that they missed. Guys, we're going to clear this up one more time. The thing went into you. It sucked your fat out. How did they miss it? They didn't miss it. That's not how that works. They didn't miss it. Unless they didn't do an entire area because of whatever reason, because they already took out, 4 liters, 5 liters, and you shouldn't do more than that for health reasons. Unless they didn't do a whole area, there's no way in one little area they missed fat. There's no way. They went in there with the cannula, they sucked everything out, they cut everything up. Unless they purposely avoided an area, they're like for ab etching or something. If they do a little bit more in one area, that's different than, oh, my doctor just missed this whole patch here. No, guys. That's not how that works. That is not possible. That is not how that works. If the cannula touched everything else around it, it's not like they just went boop, 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 boop. The cannula's a rod. It went in this way, in this way, in this way, and got everything. If you ever watch a video of how liposuction's done, they're going in all directions in that same area to get everything out. So no, they didn't miss anything. It's swelling that filled the area and got stuck there from a bad garment. It's fibrosis that built up because of a bad garment and not getting massages and not drinking enough water. It's your healing. It's not that the doctor missed something, even if it's lunchtime lipo. If they're doing an area, everything in that area is now sucked out. And in comes fluid to fill that area and try and heal it. And that's where the problem comes in, is when they're not telling you what to do to heal. You're thinking, I don't need to do anything to heal. This gets trapped. It becomes like spider webs and starts sticking to everything and becomes hard and starts pulling. And then there's swelling on top of it. And then you're feeling the lumps and bumps because that swelling is congealing and becoming like spider webs. So guys, even with lunchtime lipo, unless they purposefully didn't do a whole area, I highly doubt they missed this one little bulge of fat and did everything else around it. So that's my little thing with that. But yes, lunchtime lipo is regular lipo. It needs to be treated as such. That is how that works. If you had lunchtime lipo or some sort of lipo that was like super, super minimal and they were like, oh, just wear a Spanx, just wear whatever, you'll be fine. Set up a virtual with me if you're still having problems. Call the office. Call our scheduling coordinator, set up a virtual with me, 732-841-0142. If you are in New Jersey, I suggest you come in so I can actually see it and feel it and touch it and see what's going on and actually give you a massage. If not, in our virtuals, I can still see it, still tell you what's going on and help you get set up with someone in your area and tell you how and when to start your massages and what you should be doing with it. Now, that is all I have to say about lunchtime lipo. Let me check the comments real quick before I log off. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, what am I doing? Do you recommend a BBL and a tummy tuck together or separate? That totally depends. I have tons of videos on that. You should go and watch them. Skim through the IGTV library or on the YouTube library. I think that's it. I got the other ones. All right, guys. So if you need supplies, BBL pillow, garment, foams. Well, not garment yet. Your garments, if you want to order a garment, you have to set up a virtual with me. I have to custom fit you and personally ship you out one. They are not available online yet for mass sale. So I can still get you a garment. If you still want a garment from us, a proper lymphatically designed garment, and I have videos that talk about the garment thing. If you need a garment and your garment isn't working, it's super uncomfortable, it's cutting into you, all that stuff, set up a virtual with me. We can get you fixed with that. But foams, arnica, post-op cream, cream for your fibrosis, all that stuff, all your supplies, wound care, proper soap so your incisions don't crack and peel open. All that stuff is available in our shop. The link is in the bio. And this is all I have to say about lunchtime lipo. So I will see you guys next week. Have a good rest of your night. Bye.